Hey, what's going on, guys? It's me, Aiden.
And Spencer from
Cartoon Apocalypse. And today, we're bringing you guys kind of an analysis, more of a things that are important and things to take away. So yes, it's pretty much an analysis. I got a bunch of comments on the other analysis that I did for the previous two episodes, which was Bog Beast of Bogaba and Total Eclipse of the Moon. And they were saying, hey, you're pretty much just saying exactly what had happened throughout the episode. And you guys were right. I was just pretty much repeating what had happened in the episode, and you guys had obviously seen it, so you guys didn't really need that. There were times here and there where I was talking about it, but in this video, we have picked out bullet points of what we think we should talk about. So the first thing that we had wrote down was evidence. Now, if you guys see this image, it is a huge stack of evidence. Now, where Moon got all that evidence from, we don't exactly know, and I'm assuming it's in some sort of library or something like that. But was that evidence all against Eclipsa, or was it all for, like, was it a mix of, like, good for Eclipsa and bad for Eclipsa? Because we did learn at the end of this episode, Moon, Eclipsa, and Star work together, so this could all be things helping Eclipsa. And these all could just be books, not even, like, Moon could have exaggerated this just to make it seem like a more viable reason for Eclipsa to say, I want to trial by box. Because if Eclipsa was just like, no, I want to trial by box without it being planned, then, I mean, it would look a little bit weird. But with all this evidence, they can agree to a trial with box, and Eclipsa can agree with the trial with box. And it makes more sense that way, and it makes it less suspicious on Moon, Star, and Eclipsa's part.
The next thing that we thought was super important was the different modes on the box. We saw 4 different modes today, and we saw the party mode, which we've seen in action in this episode, along with the episode where Star had a sleepover with all of her friends, which we see is just mainly for finding truth about who people, what people think, and crushes and what have you. And then we see the intervention mode, which you can imagine would be super useful if your buddy has a problem and you want to try to help them out. Or maybe it'd be bad because they'd be very scared of dying, because the box seems to be pretty good at death. The Bachelorette Mode, which honestly I'm not entirely sure what that would be used for. Do you have any ideas? Because the only thing I could really think is like mate going up to their partner and be like, "Did you cheat on me?" And then the box would say the truth, whether they cheated on them or not. But that's
also like a game show type of thing, like, who do you like?
I guess, but
find out after the commercial.
That's true. And then we see the fourth, probably most important setting, which was trial, which is what it was set on today, showing that the ability to pull up holographic exhibits.
And as well as that, that was only one side. There are still 3 more modes of the box that we don't know. And there's also a reset on the box. So what does this mean? Does this mean that you can have your own modes? I don't know. Maybe there's separate modes that you can set it to, and like program your own modes. Maybe, I'm not sure. That's something that we might figure out later.
Also, it's like, who made the box? Someone, like, who made the box? Because obviously it's not too difficult to get, but it's also very valuable.
Yeah, like what company or like what person specializes in making boxes that tell the truth or punishment?
Yeah, because obviously it's super powerful if it's able to make you say an oath and take away or weaken your magical abilities.
So next we pretty much just had the different exhibits, which we see like 3 normally. We just added the other 2 for the other 2 people who questioned. But we started off with Exhibit A, which was Omnitraxis asking, did you write the evil chapter in the Book of Spells? And Eclipsa responded with yes, and she did say that, oh, but it wasn't, like, called the evil chapter, that was what you guys had named it. And then that was obviously a truth. And one other thing to mention with this is that the box is able to bring up, like, a hologram, or at least it's not even a hologram, it's like a physical object, because people are able to interact with it, like, or Eclipsa mostly is able to interact with all the things that she's presented with, because we see her opening up the skull, and later she touches her husband on the cheek.
Monster husband.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it is interactable. So this means that there is a way to get the Book of Spells back. because that was an exact replica of the Book of Spells, and if Star wanted to continue her training, she would be able to in a certain way. And maybe they can set the box of, like, the box or punishments to make their own mode. Like we said earlier, because there's a reset button, what if they're able to create their own modes? So what if that means that Star could program her own mode that allows the box to pull up whatever she needs to train on, and just eliminate the whole punishments function and just have it strictly for viewing, like the book, because there's no replica of the book that we know of, and this would be a way for her to continue her training.
Next, we move on to Exhibit B, which is probably my favorite exhibit because we get to see a full-size model of Eclipsa's husband and monster husband. The question from Hekapoo was, did you abandon your husband and your kingdom? The answer was obviously yes. And, I mean, honestly, after looking at her monster husband, I would have gone for that too, over the king. The king kind of looked stingy and annoying.
Yeah, and when Eclipsa first saw, she was like, "Ugh, this guy again."
Yeah, she was in disgust. She hated him.
So that's just like, maybe I want to say that she was forced into that marriage, but by who? She's the queen. She's the most powerful being. Like, she's the highest up, unless the Magic High Commission forced it, but I doubt it.
Or maybe her mother before her.
That's true as well.
And then next we see again the hologram of the monster husband, who we see is like 2.5 times bigger than Eclipsa. He's huge. This guy is monstrous.
No pun intended.
No, nothing compared to Trigon, if you know what I mean. But he's still huge. He's a big monster. This is actually a good first photo that we have completely of him. Obviously, we had the portrait, but that could have been a little off because it was a painting. This is a accurate hologram of him. He's smiling like crazy, seems happy, and then when she goes in to touch and pet his cheek, he purrs even.
He does?
He does. If you listen to it, you can hear it purr.
Really?
Yeah, play it.
Smile like that.
He does.
Yeah.
He does purr. That's.
You didn't notice that?
No, I didn't notice that.
Dang it, Aiden. Job, Aiden.
Yeah. We're technically not paid yet, so it's not a job.
It's a job
thanks
for
to our
your joy.
donators.
Yeah, donators.
Also, we just got a recent new donator. Forgot to shout you out.
We will definitely shout you out again, probably at the end of this video.
No, right now.
Oh, mid-video shout out. Whoa.
Thank you so much, Sagatoras. We probably pronounced your name wrong, but thank you so much for the awesome donation. We are up to 4 donators now, and it means so much to us to like know that you guys like our content enough to be like, hey, you know what? I want to support them so that they can continue making their content. And we're not monetized yet, so every single little bit helps. So if you're interested in being like a supportive person and helping us out, Patreon link is down in the description below. So thanks again, Sagatoras, and yeah.
And thank you all the other donators, not even just him. It's so it's super special to know that that we're cared enough out there as someone's willing to pay even the smallest amount for our channel.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much. Everything helps, and yeah. So on to the normally scheduled video. So the next one is Exhibit C. Kind of a mistake. Exhibit Romulus asked, did you eat those babies? And so that was actually Bombipsa, which was the baby eater. So there was a queen who ate babies, I guess.
Well, I hope it wasn't a queen, but just some person with a similar name to Eclipsa.
Possibly. I don't know. We don't know enough about it. It's more of just a joke by this point. Eclipsa did in this exhibit say that she hurted teenagers psychologically, and maybe she was doing experiments on those kids for the evil chapter. Evil in quotation marks. We don't exactly know what it's called. Eclipsa's chapter, let's just say. So what exactly she was doing to those teenagers, I'm not too sure, but let's hope it wasn't anything like extremely bad.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I don't even want to know. I mean, I would much rather be physically injured than psychologically injured, because that never goes away.
I mean, but she did say they deserved it, so.
Okay, but did they really?
I don't know.
Exhibit D. this is Moon's question, which is, are you sorry for what you have done?
Now, this wasn't actually an exhibit because the box wasn't required for this, like to bring up a hologram. So what? I don't think it was actually labeled as an Exhibit D. That's just what it would be.
And obviously, she said no, she wasn't sorry for what she's done, which was like intense. The members of the Magic High Commission were freaking out. They're like, what do you mean? This obviously means you're guilty. You're awful if you're not sorry for what you have done. Even though technically we haven't heard anything bad besides, I guess, abandoning your husband and your kingdom. That's probably the worst thing that she's done, but is following your heart really a crime worth being frozen over?
So she obviously did something different. I mean, she psychologically tortured teenagers, yeah.
Didn't eat any babies, though.
So after she said this, like, everyone was just like, oh, freaking out, like Spencer had said. And then Romulus was like, oh, I'm about to crystallize you. And then Eclipsa was like, oh, wait, hold up. I never got to ask my question. And then they were like, you can't ask a question. You know, I think Omnitraxis was actually like laughing, and Hekapoo too. They were just like laughing about it, being like, haha, you can't ask a question.
I would have laughed. That's funny.
Yeah,
Comedy gold.
But then Star pops up immediately and is like, yeah, she can ask a question, isn't that right, Mom? You said in the rules. And then Moon's like, yeah, technically, since she was a queen at one point, she's still a member of the Magic High Commission. And so then Eclipsa asked the Magic High Commission, what did you do with my daughter? And then this is when all heck breaks loose, and it just goes crazy.
This was probably the question that you got most information out of. Because honestly, the other questions kind of seemed like softballs in the direction of evil no matter what she answered. But this question you actually got serious answers out of. Like, this is
groundbreaking stuff.
This brought important information to us.
So pretty much the Magic High Commission was like, oh, we didn't do anything with your daughter, and that was a lie. So the box of punishments was like, yeet, nope, you are getting investigated further, and we're capturing you and gonna make you spill the truth. So that's exactly what they did. And the Magic High Commission tried everything that they could do, like Romulus, like, put up those pillars. Hekapoo, like, divided and tried to, like, stop the walls, and same with Omnitraxis, he put out his arm, and then Star was like, oh, come on, guys, just spill it. And then Romulus is just the one to spill the beans.
Which it seemed kind of weird. It kind of seemed like, after they spilled the beans, Hekapoo got mad at Romulus and was like, wow, did you seriously do that? Even though it seemed almost like she'd rather die and kill everyone there than tell the truth, which seems weird to me.
Kind of supporting my Magic High Commission being evil theory. But also in there, I just wanted to mention, there was a point in there where we see a spider-looking thing on the wall, and then an eagle-looking thing in the background. Now, this could just be all a big coincidence, but, I mean, eagle and spider, Ludo's return. Another video coming on that here soon, possibly. Probably just in the analysis video. Anyway.
It's something in this show for sure. I feel like there's something special about eagles and spiders, or birds at least, and spiders. I feel like they're probably important and will probably show something. Or maybe it's just a cool Easter egg that the show likes to keep bringing back. I don't really know. I just think that they're everywhere and should definitely be shown and talked about. So
pretty much what happened was King Shastakan didn't want anything to do with Meteora, and Eclipsa just looks terrified that King Shastakan would do that because he like flings the Meteora. So then the Magic High Commission swapped Meteora with a peasant girl, and pretty much we see in this picture that it's Hekapoo's arms doing it. Now this leads me to believe that Hekapoo is the one who's like the highest, baddest, like evilest one in the Magic High Commission. And then Romulus, I'm thinking, is the least evil and bad, because first of all, he's the one who spilled the beans. Second of all, when we see him later in the trial, he just looks guilty. He has a hood up, or not guilty, he just looks like sad and like...
kind of like what he knew what he was doing was wrong.
Yeah, and so I think whenever the Magic High Commission was saying, oh, do you know what would happen? Like, can you imagine what would happen if the magic got into a monster's hand? And Romulus just doesn't say anything. Hecapoo and Omnitraxus are together, but Romulus is just like, I disagree with you. He doesn't actually say it, that's just the impression that we're getting. And then the last holographic image is seeing Festivia change the wand into a baby rattle. Now, this might be why her name is Festivia the Fun, because she had fun as a kid, and she might have been the earliest queen to get the wand. I mean, Moon was, I don't know how old, like
14. I think
no, she got the wand because her mother died.
Oh no, she had it before.
She did?
Yeah, she was already in training.
Oh. Alright, never mind then.
But we also see that she at this point doesn't have any cheek marks.
I mean, there's some circles, but that's just a blush. So we don't see any cheek marks on her yet. So how does that come into play?
I don't know. Perhaps that the cheek marks, they don't appear right off the bat, right at birth, or maybe becoming using magic is what brings out your cheek mark.
But I mean, Star had cheek marks before she used magic for the first time.
True.
I don't know. These are all questions that I'm sure we'll get answers to later in the show. So pretty much the box was like, yes, Eclipsa was found guilty, but so was the Magic High Commission.
Of treason. Very treasonous.
And then while the box is like lecturing the Magic High Commission, being like, yeah, you guys did something as well, Omnitraxus just doesn't look like he cares. He's just like, whatever. I don't care.
He's like, it happened. It happens. All the time. Well, the other two, Romulus looks sad or disappointed in himself, and Hecapoo is just kind of fiddling with the thing. Like,
she's like sad that she got caught. She was like, man, I can't believe I got caught.
Yeah.
And it was all because of Romulus. Oh, Romulus. But pretty much the Magic High Commission lied to Moon, pretty much everyone at this point. And a separate video on that coming out here soon. And pretty much they are big liars. And not only that, later we see that Star comes to the realization that she is not actually related to Eclipsa. Which was like, oh my gosh. And if you guys watched my previous videos on the total eclipse of the moon analysis, I was like, wait, doesn't that mean that she's not related? And I was right. I was right about two things. The Magic High Commission being evil, sort of evil, and as well as Star not being related to Eclipsa. Now, this is groundbreaking news because that means that I am a great theorist and I'm amazing. No, but just saying, that was pretty cool. So after learning that, Star runs out of the trial after freeing Eclipsa, and it's just like, wow, Star is really sad. And that's probably the reason why we see Star and Tom being sad, disappointed in Is Another Mystery. Because Tom is trying to comfort Star, because Star is going through some things right now. So what does this mean? Something has to happen with the Magic High Commission. They're not just gonna let them go with lying. I'm thinking that they'll either be banished and like be crystallized, or whatever the equivalent is to being crystallized, or Moon will be like, hey, you need to tell me everything that you know, and they might even be put on their own trial. We really have no idea. Doubt it, but that could happen. And what will happen with Star? Because obviously she's pretty sad, and this is pretty mind-blowing. In Is Another Mystery, she gets kind of distracted by looking for Buffrog, but in the beginning she's sad, and I'm assuming that that is because of this. So we don't really know what will happen with Star. I'm assuming that she just goes back to normal after talking with Moon or something, because she said that she's not a princess, or she said no, we're nobodies, but pretty much she still is a princess, just not in the same bloodline as Eclipsa.
We also forgot to mention that in order for King Shasta Khan to have Eclipsa's baby, or Meteora, something had to have happened to the monster husband. Whether he abandoned them, which I don't think, because Eclipsa seemed happy when she saw the hologram of him, or he died or went to prison or disappeared some way. We really don't know, because otherwise how would they have the baby? They wouldn't have the baby.
So we're thinking that something happened to the monster husband. Now we don't have a clear name for him yet, but pretty much like Spencer just said, there's no way they would have either had to take the baby, but why would they do that? Or Eclipsa brought it to them. So something, I think, happened to the husband to where they had to give it back to King Shastakan in order for him to take care of it. And that's why he gave it off to some other person to create the thing. And I think we'll get more answers for how Meteor is the Miss Heinous of the Seino's Oga's school or something like that. We don't exactly know. We'll learn about it here soon, though. But anyway, guys, that's going to wrap up today's video. If you guys did enjoy, then you can leave a like and subscribe for more awesome Star versus the Forces of Evil content.
And hopefully more content coming down the line for different shows.
Most definitely. As cartoons continue to be released, as the 2 new ones that are coming out in 2019, as well as some other shows that are returning, such as Steven Universe and things like that, there will be more content, and it's super exciting. So yeah, we're gonna wrap up today's video, and stay tuned for another video about Ludo, Where Art Thou? I'll see you guys later.
Do 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 do.
Who do you have a crush on? Queen Moon!